So this thing is really turning this in, because this gives the business owner the power to develop a sense of who they are, where they're going. And the key thing that I think business plans miss, because business plans, and I don't know if you've written any, goes to file 13, never to be seen again, and never to be implemented. This becomes top of house. This becomes your operational plan on a daily basis. It dictates your diary. It dictates what I'm going to do tomorrow, the next day, in all of these elements. And I'm stopping now. The key thing that it does away with the jargon like marketing. Did you know that's a jargon? It does away with all of those jargon. It's real simple language that anyone can understand. Even someone with A levels at Eton.
Thanks. So now you know why I'm with Brian, because he can put all those things into words which I struggle to actually express in talking. One of the things that I'll talk about a bit later is exactly those energies that we have as people. And then, in fact, that's one of the things that distinguishes this planning method from others, is that we understand how what we plan for also relates to how we show up in the world ourselves, because we all show up differently. So this thing about a plan or a formula that you can apply to anyone is absolute nonsense, and that if you read my book you'll see that I say so there too. There is no formula. All these people that say there's a secret that you need to follow, they're talking nonsense, because each of us have to find our own secret and our own formula in our own context and based on our own strengths. So I brought my private secretary along to hand out our sheets. Her name is Luleila. Francois from South Africa was forced to volunteer in us doing a demonstration. We can also do more demonstrations as we go along. So if you would like us to use your case study as a demonstration, we can do so just now. But I've been working with Open Africa. Francois is also going to speak a bit later about how they've used it and so on. But let's use the opportunity. So Francois, if you don't mind coming forward. So this is a demonstration. In fact, I've been doing quite a few the last 2 days with this being Global Entrepreneurship Week. I tried, Nabila, I'm not sure, we're not going to be successful, are we, to get the opinion piece into a newspaper, are we?
We might, I'm working with
Okay, I tried to get an opinion piece into the newspaper saying that Global Entrepreneurship Week is all nice and well, but there's a lot of air, hot air being blown around and a lot of energy being expended. But what we actually need is a different approach. Because if, you know, since it doesn't look like my article is going to be published, let me just say it. So, because when I started, very happy that Barry is here. We started about 18 years ago or so that we started Big News. Before there was a policy on small business development, we started, and we've seen in the past 18 years or so how from one institution, which was the Small Business Development Corporation, and then the work that you guys were doing at Triple Trust, 2 institutions, basically, I mean, there are hundreds, and I'm not sure how many, focusing on small business development and entrepreneurship now. But the approach is still pretty much the same. And that was what I was trying to say in the opinion piece. I hope someone may still publish it. But let's move on to Open Africa. So I've been very fortunate. In fact, about 2 years ago now already, I think, that I worked with, first worked with Open Africa with a group of about 30 of their beneficiaries, their members. You will see now what Open Africa is all about. So we're doing, in fact, a bit of marketing here for Open Africa. I think a lot of people here are free-spirited people that like traveling, are you? Yeah. Off the beaten, that's still your slogan, off the beaten track?
Do travel differently.
Oh, it's changed. Do travel differently. Okay, so those of us who are into traveling a bit differently and having experiences that are not maybe packaged in the brochures, Open Africa is the organization for us that doesn't only offer us as tourists the experience, but also does some very important development work in those rural areas where tourism is perhaps one of the only things that can sustain economic growth. Yeah. So what typically happens, and I've done this now, I'm not sure how many times this week, I think about 10. We were at the expo and we used the same board to do demonstrations, butcheries, funeral services, all kinds of businesses people starting off a lot, some that are in business that needs to change. And we can use this framework in planning very quickly. So I did a talk and I showed that the first business that I started in 1996, it took about 4 months or so to write a business plan. And then over time we started a few others and we got better. So it went up to like 3 months, 2 months, 1 month. Okay, when we planned the flow canvas, it took us 1 hour. So we learned that we can waste a lot of time on a lot of detail. That's never going to turn out as we thought it's going to be because the world is changing so fast today. So Francois, if we ask you, tell us something about Open Africa, please.
Something.
Yes. Tell us something about Open Africa.
We're a social enterprise that develops travel routes in rural areas of Southern Africa.
So I'm busy here writing what Open Africa is doing. They have travel routes in Southern Africa. Okay, what else can you tell us about Open Africa?
We do this to give small businesses in rural areas an opportunity to access markets that wouldn't have been available to them.
Why do you do that?
To solve probably one of the biggest problems we face on the continent is the high unemployment rate, specifically in rural areas, so to create jobs.
Why do you create jobs?
Because there's a need.
And what does that mean? So this is the thing about, so just to give you an idea, we've got 9 boxes here, you've already seen that. Here in the middle we talk about purpose. And this is really the why question. And we can, like my son does, keep asking why. I'm not sure if you know about that. There's always a why to the answer. And we can keep asking why here. But we want to get to something that's fairly significantly big that we're contributing towards. It's our purpose. So in big companies, they do things like write mission and vision statements that they put on the wall behind the reception. And if you walk up to the receptionist and ask them, by the way, what is your company's mission? Then she looks at you with a blank stare. But it's sitting behind her head. Try that next time when you walk into a company and there's a mission vision statement. Ask the person behind the computer, what is your company's vision? And I can kind of guarantee that she's not going to be able to tell you or he. So we don't want to kind of get bogged down into this use of the jargon, as Brian said. We really want to give something meaningful in terms of what we really stand for in the world. So you want to create jobs, why?
To give people purpose and opportunity.
So we give marginalized people the opportunity to have a more meaningful and fulfilled life, something like that. So we can work on the words as we go along too. I mean, sort of as long as we start to put something down, we give marginal people opportunities for a better life. Sounds a bit like a political slogan. So we want to get that away from the better life, maybe because there's too much connotation to that. But anyways, we got the gist there.
We give margarine to people. What?
Yeah, no, butter, with butter. Okay, so if we know what our purpose is, we want what we do, the focus that we have, to reflect and support that purpose. And in the focus, we want to be describing how unique as possible we are. So, in terms of travel routes, what makes Open Africa unique? Because there are other travel routes too.
Well, it's all inclusive and it has no barriers to entry. So anyone who can add value is allowed to participate. There's no cost.
No.
There's no financial cost.
So it's inclusive in terms of the members, in terms of the people that are joining the routes. Is that membership thing not a very unique aspect of what the route is about?
Not so much anymore. I suppose it used to be, but not so much anymore.
No.
And the other thing is that it is incredibly diverse. It really includes everything from someone selling craft on the side of the road to what could be a well-established bed and breakfast in a particular area. It's open to everyone.
The important thing is that you run these travel routes. In fact, you establish them and then, or just explain to us how that works.
Yeah, so we help to establish them. We identify all of the key attractions in a particular area, all of the products and services around those attractions. We package it and then we put it on a website that we then promote as an organization.
Okay, I'm going to write a website there, so long.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
What does he mean by members? Does he just mean members of that group, or do you join some?
Well, a business would join a route. So a route is a membership-based entity.
Right.
How many routes do you have?
64.
So there's 64 routes. So in terms of those routes, there's some value exchange happening between yourselves and your members, and perhaps even other parties. What is that value exchange? So typically in a business, a value exchange would be I give you money and you give me something back, but maybe in your case it's not that clear exactly what that exchange is.
No, I mean, so the value from our side is experience and, well, to put it simply, we run programs with entrepreneurs. So we do small business development with some of the emerging entrepreneurs.
So as an entrepreneur, I get skill.
Yeah.
So entrepreneurs get skill, and what do they give?
Well, they give commitment, time, and they are the custodian of the product. So we don't own them.
They contribute to the root product.
Yeah.
And because they contribute to that, you develop them.
Yeah.
So there's no money flowing here.
Not between Open Africa and the entrepreneurs. No.
So where's the money flowing? There must be money flowing.
The money's flowing between the entrepreneur and the route as an entity.
Yes. He pays a membership fee.
Yeah. And the money's flowing between the traveler, the end consumer, and the entrepreneur.
So no money flowing into the Open Africa.
Yeah, there is. So we are. Now it gets complicated, but we're mostly, let's say we're mostly donor funded. So it's corporate social.
Okay, so donors give you money, and what do they get back?
They get reputational value. That in South Africa they get socioeconomic development or enterprise development points.
Yeah.
That are big corporate.
CSI value.
Yeah, tax benefits.
You see, I can't write.
Give him a stick,
I can scribble.
Green.
So this is now getting interesting because here we describe what? This is kind of the ideas. It's kind of our visualization of what is possible that we put here at the top. And here we've put very concretely the transactions. In fact, we can put what is the membership fee in rand value. Because we at some point need to calculate how viable this business is too. So we'll have to get down to that kind of detail and we can put it down here. But typically with a business you'll have a price list. And you'll say, do I take credit card payments or do I just take it cash? You know, do I take a 50% deposit or, you know, sort of do I trust my customers, they're going to pay me there? But we're trusting you with the books.
Christoff, you've got Coffee pays membership fee. What kind of membership fee do they pay?
They pay a membership fee for the route, to be a route member.
To be a route member,
Yeah.
okay, got it.
Okay, so now the question is, who the people are that would want to do these transactions. So you might have noticed that we didn't start asking who are the people that we want to serve? What is the need in the market? We didn't go out and do market research. Like I'm sure in your MBA they taught you need to do first. Francois, just congratulate him, he just completed his MBA. We try to unlearn him. I'm not sure if it's possible. But in any case, so traditionally we would start here. We would say, let's define the audience, that is the audience that we can serve. But here we do it differently. And why is that? Why don't we start with the audience?
Because that might limit you.
It might limit you, yes, because you're looking for a specific need. No?
It's your business. You need to look at what you want to do.
There's the fire burning inside of you. Never have I, in the 18 years or so that we've worked with entrepreneurs, found one that went out and researched the market. They research the market to justify to do what they want to do. They don't go find what the need is in the market. They just respond to themselves and what they want to do. They want to have fun and do business.
This Dane used to employ someone to do market research. And I don't know. And she said, don't do it, you'll fail. So they failed.
Yeah. But you have to know who the people are that you serve. It's just the sequence of how we do it that changes. So, you've got two audiences, or three audiences perhaps. You've got tourists.
Yeah.
You've got members, or product owners, I'm not sure what you call them.
Yeah. Participants.
And you've got donors.
Yeah. So members, I would actually say that in terms of our customer, our primary customer, our roots. So we prefer to work with the collective rather than the individual.
Okay.
2,500 businesses in a network. We can't communicate and work with each one of them individually.
Okay. So you initiate the route to be formed, and then you leave them up to actually do their own thing. They become their own custodians of where they need to take things. Yeah. So who are the best route members?
Who are the best?
Let's start with tourists. That's maybe easier. So what we often do is we say, like a target, if you shoot, where do you get the most points, Lorena?
On the outside.
In the middle or in the outside? Wrong answer. In the middle, you get the bull's eye, you get the most points. So when we think of the audience that we serve, let's think about it like that. There are people that we really have to have, and that we really need to go out to get. So in the tourists, there are typical tourists that you really just have to capture. And we're going to get to how we drag their attention now. There may be others that's kind of nice to have. And if they come along, we'll have them. There's also some we don't want to have. So like we say, there's some customers we need to fire.
Yeah.
Because they just waste your time, and they don't fit your business model. So to see it, that you can actually miss the target too. And there may be people outside of the target. So what we ask is, who are the people that you're meant to serve? And there are also people you're not meant to serve. And we can ask it for both, for all the different categories of our audience. And to draw this bullseye help, so we can say, hey, let's think about the 3, 4, 5 criteria or characteristics of that audience, so we can define who those people are. So specifically with donors, maybe you also want to do that and say, okay, there are people that we're really going to go for and present ourselves well to, and there are others that maybe if we get them, we'll be happy about. But the point being, how do we then get their attention? So Open Africa needs to show up and stand out in ways with these audiences. So how does that happen? So we noted the website. So by the way, in using the tool, when we note something, we can put it down anywhere. Something we note, we didn't really come to operations and so on, which are here. So you may also have noticed that we here, on this side, we're talking about the outside of our business, external, the differentiation out there. On that side, we're going to talk about the inside of the business. So how do these people notice you?
Okay, so I'll keep it simple. So tourist, the website, primary resource.
And that, by the way, is openafrica.org.
Yeah.
Which you can go and look at.
Yeah, please do. Routes, so these are potential prospective routes. Normally travel exhibitions, industry exhibitions.
So how many expos do you go to?
So we do at least 2 a year.
How many website visitors do you need to have?
We need to have a lot. We currently have about 25,000 per month.
And how many do you need to have?
Well, I would like to have double that.
Okay, this becomes important because later on, especially when we come to this side, when we talk about improvement, we want certain metrics to be looking at and say how are things happening. So you might also have noticed the arrows. So there's something in the arrows. There's a cycle that we're going to go through, and there may be bottlenecks that we need to resolve. And if we've got certain metrics to look at when we later look at how we do it, it helps us to very quickly actually identify where those bottlenecks are in the cycle. So by the way, this feature distinguishes the flow canvas from all other planning tools, in that it creates a cycle. You experience that in the work that we've done. It becomes this kind of a natural flow that we try to achieve, which you don't see in other business planning tools so much. Okay, what else do you need to do? How are we doing for time, right?
We press.
Okay, we're gonna do one example.
Yes.
Okay.
We press.
Yeah. Okay. So, but you get the thrust here. Yeah? Sort of. You need to be out there and you need to be noticed. So, what we tell entrepreneurs is you need to show up at the right places where these people are. Doesn't matter if you show up in the wrong places. You can show up as much as you want. If it's the wrong place where these people aren't, you're defeating the purpose. And then you need to stand out. So you need to be noticed. And that's, so in your business school handbook, this would be marketing, but we don't use these words because it just brings up so many other kind of elements in our thoughts about what we should be doing and not be doing. Kind of trying to reproduce what big companies do. So you did, with the Microsoft BizSpark, we did the 10-week program. So in fact, you were one of the first people that completed the whole online process. So I was quite impressed with that because at that point it was quite a laborious thing to do. But so we use this. You can use it with an NGO like Flow Canvas, like Open Africa. You can use it with a start-up tech business like we did with about 40 tech entrepreneurs through the BizSpark program. We did a training program the other day with 30 rural women that are, some of them could barely read and write. So very versatile in terms of how we can apply it. But if we now have been noticed, these people have now noticed us, we want them to come and do this transaction. So you can kind of see how this flow starts to, you start to create the flow. So with desire, we want to make it impossible for them to say no. What do you do to create that desire for them to want to do the transaction with you?
Well, from a tourist or traveler point of view, you've got to entice them somewhere. So we run specific campaigns and competitions to lure them in. From a donor perspective, it is about standing out. So we apply for awards. We've just been awarded the Mail and Guardian Drivers of Change Award for 2014. And that's how you create desire. Automatically afterwards, donors start phoning you. We've seen what you do, we'd like to support.
Yeah. Right, so in a business, a lot of this is to do with guarantees. You give a guarantee, you buy from me. If it doesn't work out for you, I'll give it back. Or testimonials. Do you testimonials?
Yeah.
Testimonials can be very powerful. Nowadays, you just take out your picture. In fact, I've got 2, including yourself. I've got 2 testimonials I can show you just now. It's just so easy nowadays to grab your camera out of your pocket and say, oh, you just told me how good this thing was that you experienced and the difference it's going to make in your life. Can you say it again, please?
Well,
yeah. Okay, testimonials is something we can put down here. So now we already see that this is the big thing that we try to achieve in the world. We do it through the focus that we do. What we do, we get the attention of these people, and then we very cleverly, cunningly so, turn them into doing these transactions that we want. And this is now a promise that we have. We've made a promise. We haven't delivered on the promise yet. Now we need to go deliver on the promise. And that's delivery. It's all the operational detail. So I'm sure we can take a while if you describe all the operational stuff. But what is key to the way that Open Africa is organized?
Well, and this is, also a lot of, you'll know, came out of us actually doing this exercise. Is having a very lean model, so having a very small head office team and building up a support network of what we now call local route coordinators out in the provinces.
Okay, so that says something about how you organize. And then I work with you on a handbook for your routes to empower them so that they can function well. So you support your routes to actually kind of function in an autonomous way in some ways. In fact, you asked me to do a manual, and we said, no, we're not going to do a manual. We're going to do an online resource, which turned out to be fact sheet based. So, and I very remember Paul Crankshaw. I pulled Paul Crankshaw in, and We wrote, I can't remember how many, about 80 fact sheets or something. That's now on a root, it's called roottoolkit.co.za that people are using. So yeah, the root toolkit would be an important tool for you to use. Okay, so now we're here in the way, inside our business, in the way that we organize ourselves. We need to remain sustainable and profitable, or in this case, sustainable because we're not going to make money. How do you organize yourself? So you are NPC, or
Section 21
which is now NPC, called the NPC, a not-for-profit company according to the New Companies Act, and you've got a board of directors.
We've got a board of directors, yeah.
You've got an interesting story how you were started, and that's still part of the fabric of the organization. Remember, we talk about culture here, so there's some kind of formality about it. This is the way that we associate it and that we govern ourselves, but there's also a bit of value to it. What are the underlying values in terms of how?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're very especially for a non-profit company, we're a very entrepreneurial. We've got a very entrepreneurial culture, and it goes right back to our roots and where we started. We were founded by Noel de Villiers, a gentleman who also founded Avis Car Rental in South Africa, and so you know he's bred that culture, and it still remains a core part of who we are today, and how we do things and how we think about it.
Accountability still, so you've got a board of directors and Noel is still involved in on the board level and so on.
Chairman.
So you've got a board of directors and then you've got a CEO or MD, what do you call yourself? MD. And you've got staff members, so there's kind of a reporting line here. We are accountable in what we do, and we've got plans that we implement. Okay, so the last element here is that of improvement. And that's really, so you can see we've kind of gone through most of the cycle. This is the 9th element that we are now entering into a new cycle. So we ask how have we done, and we can identify maybe a few things that we can say we did well in that, but not so well in that. So let's focus on that one. And here we didn't get to 50,000 people. We did better do some, change our website so that we get to 50,000, or do something different here. So in the next round, when we talk about website, we're going to do things differently here. We're going to start publish more, and by the time that we've gone through the next cycle, we'll see whether we actually succeeded in sorting out that bottleneck. Okay, so it becomes a cycle that we go around, but we don't chase it like my dog does. My dog, our dog. And Staffy chases his tail round and round. We try to create a spiral that we go up. So we go around, but get better and better at what we do. Thanks.
Great stuff. Thank you.